Today we are going to be diving a little bit deeper into our events template and giving you an overview of how you set up an event, highlighting our main user roles and their responsibilities and workflow, and just giving you a bit more of additional support on how you use the template as a whole. So quickly, as I mentioned, we have several different user roles for this event template, our admins, event managers, attendees, speakers, etc. The two main ones we want to focus on for this training video is going to be our admins and our event managers. These are going to be the two main user roles that are important when we are setting up an actual event. So the first we're going to look at is our admins, who are going to be admins of the event app as a whole. So they are going to be responsible for creating individual events, assigning event managers to those events, managing the types of users for the app, so whether that's adding new admin users or event managers to your app, managing the different types of awards that can be given across your events, and then also have the opportunity to export data once an event has been completed. The next main user role is going to be our event manager. So these event managers are going to be assigned on a event by event case. They will only have access to manage the information that sits within the event that they're going to be assigned to. So our admin will create an event, assign an event manager to it, and then our event manager can kind of tailor this event to what they would like to put in it. So that's going to be things like adding and managing our attendees and users of the specific event, populating it with information, so your agenda items, your event info, putting different types of feedback into those agenda items, so your surveys and session questions and that type of thing, different materials, support materials that will be sitting in your material library, adding any types of speakers, exhibitors to your app, sending out any notifications prior or during an event, so that's push notifications, email notifications, access to your leaderboard, so that's going to go back to your awards and who's kind of receiving those awards, and then of course checking people into the event. So we'll dive into this in the actual template and show you how this works. We have a nice user flow here. I know it looks like a little bit of information, but this is basically separating the user roles out. We can see what our admin is doing over here on the left side, how it connects to our event manager, and then obviously to our attendees. This will all be in the support article for you to review after the video. And then just quickly an overview, as I mentioned, of how the workflow works from setting up an event and where the event manager comes into it. And I will jump into Studio to kind of show you how that works now. Okay, so we are now going to dive into Studio and look at the actual events template and show you how you set up an event from start to finish. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure we are logged into the app. So I'm going to do this in preview mode in Studio. You can also do this from the live URL or live app. I will do it from Studio. So I am going to log in. You'll see we have credentials here for our admins, standard users, speakers, and exhibitors. I'm going to log in as an admin right now. So if I put my details in, I'm going to be logged in. You're always going to be directed to this events list page. Here you will see events that you have access to. So this is going to be across the board. All users will be seeing this event list page. They will only see events that they have been added to, given access to, or any open events. As an admin, I'm logged in and you see I have my admin menu here. So my admin menu is going to be what I am using to manage events from within the app. So if I click onto my admin menu, you'll see I have the options here to manage events. So these are going to be managing the actual creation of the event within the app, managing users for the app, managing awards, and also exporting data. So again, for these purposes of this video, we're going to be creating an event. Okay, so I'm in my admin menu. The first thing I want to do before I create the actual event is just make sure I have the correct users in the app. So this is going to be where we are managing other admins of the actual app. our event managers, so making sure that they exist within the app before we're assigning them to events. This is an important first step. So if I click into this manage user list, you'll see all the users that we have for the app. Anyone, as I mentioned, that needs to be an event manager should exist on this list. So if you don't see them here, if you're starting from scratch, what you'll do is click this plus button and populate this information with the specific user. So I will go ahead and put all their information in. I will set them a password, email them with their login details, add a picture if they have one, and then we want to say if this user is going to be an admin user or not. So if we don't want them to be an admin of the app as a whole, we're going to leave this as no. If we do want them to be an admin, we will change it to yes. If they're just going to be an event manager for a single event, then we'll most likely leave it as no, and they will not be an admin of the app. So if I submit this now, I should be able to see myself that I have created. You'll see I have Sophie here. So this user now exists in our event app and can be assigned as an event manager to a specific event. So we will navigate back to our admin menu to show you our next step. Our next step in this process is going to be creating the actual event and assigning the event manager to populate that event with its content. So I've clicked into my admin menu and I'm now going to click on my manage events. So if I click on this, I see the existing events that I have live right now. I have the option to click into them, make any edits to them. You'll see down here where we're assigning event managers. I can also close or delete any events. So if you have testing data in our templates, you can delete them. This is going to delete all the data from them if you don't want those in there. You can also close the events, which is going to keep the data within your app, but it's going to close the event so it's no longer shown or accessible to any of the users. So as I mentioned, we want to be creating an event, so you'll see this plus button. We are going to click on that and create a new event. So I am going to create a Fliplet seminar. I will assign the dates, the start times, the end times, location. This is where you're going to populate this with any specific information to the event. If you have an image that you want as a placeholder for your event, you can choose that here. This is going to speak to the security of the event, so the type of event. As I mentioned, we have private events, so those will be events that no one will see on their event list unless they have been added into the event by the event manager. We also have access required, so those will be shown on your event list, but you'll need to request access for it and be approved by your event manager to see the information for that event. And then also open events, meaning anyone can see them. We also want to make sure we are assigning an event manager here. So we are just creating the actual shell of the event. The event manager that is assigned will go into that event and populate it with its specific information. So I'm assigning myself as my event manager. I'm going to submit this, and back on my events list, you'll see my new event that I have created. So just a quick recap of where we are so far in the workflow process. So we have logged in as an admin user. We have added our users to the app, so any additional admins or our event managers. We have created the actual event shell, so the date, the time, the event name has been created, and we've also assigned our event manager to it. So we're right here in the workflow process. Now what we will do is jump back into Studio and give you a bit of an overview of what the next steps are as an event manager and how we bring the event to life in the template. So I am back on my events list, logged in as an event manager. Again, my list here will only show me events that I have access to, events that are open, or events that I have been assigned as an event manager to. giving me access to manage the content sitting within that event. So as we recall earlier, we made this Fliplet seminar. If I go ahead and click into this, I'm taken to my event info page with information on the event. I also can use this menu bar at the bottom to navigate into any different section of the app during the event. As an event manager, I am able to manage how all this content sits within this app and what content sits within it. I can do this by clicking on my settings option, and you'll see here this event manager menu button pops up. So this menu will only pop up for people that are assigned to be an event manager for the specific event. So if I click into my event manager menu, you'll see now I'm opened up to this whole menu of options to manage the materials and content that sits to this specific event. Again, any of these changes are going to be tied only to the event that I have navigated to. So my Fliplet seminar event, it's not going to change any of the information in any of the other events. I'm only managing my specific event. So we'll go quickly through this list and just show you how we manage the different types of material. They're all forms that allow you to submit your information. So we have our manage users here, where we are having the option to add the users to the event. We can do this by bulk uploading. So if I click on this, you'll see I have the option to upload a CSV and import all of those users into the data source to become users or attendees of this event. I also can click into any of my users here and edit them. And if I click down here, you will see that I can distinguish what type of user this is going to be. Is it going to be an attendee? Is it going to be a speaker? Is it going to be an exhibitor or another type of user? So this is where we can really distinguish what type of users are being set. That is how we assign users. We also have the event info. So if I click into this, again, you'll see I'm back on my event info page. These are just little welcome points, information about the event, information about the venue, etc. So this is generally a welcome landing page when someone has navigated to your event. We have the option to edit this information in any way or add new information to it. Again, in a similar fashion, you will click this plus button and be able to populate different types of content here. So I will quickly show you. Filling out any specific information. I can tag it with a specific category. I also can order into it, so showing what order in the list it's going to show. I can put that there if I'm interested. So you'll see I've submitted this now, and I have my welcome to the event that I have just submitted. Likewise to the other forms, you also have the option to go in here, make edits to it or delete it. So if you are starting from scratch and building a new event, you would just come in here and populate a couple pieces here or edit ones that already exist. If I come back to my event manager menu, one other important part is managing our agenda. So this is going to be things that are happening in our sessions during the day. So really, this is the backbone of the event, navigating people through what is happening during the day. So this is what our agenda looks like. If I go back to my event manager menu and I click into manage agenda, you again here will see the similar agenda with all the points on here throughout the day. We again have the option to go in, make any edits to them, or add a new one. So if we're adding a new agenda topic, we will go ahead and put a sample one in here for us. We will pick your date and time, your location. So if you have a specific room, you can link to your floor plan. You also can fill out with any content, any associated materials to it. We have the option to add it to a personalized agenda. We can tie our speakers here. So you'll see if I click into this now, we have our list of speakers. If we have a specific question or survey screen, what we want to do here is be putting the screen name. So if I look on my screen names here on the left hand side for my questions, it is just simply question. So we will put that as a screen name. And for surveys, we have our session surveys. So if you were duplicating different session surveys or questions for specific agenda sessions, what you would just want to do is duplicate these screens and make sure that you're renaming them and putting the correct names here. If we want to populate poll questions, we can put those here so the users can fill them out. We can also connect any URL. So if there's a Zoom link, if there's a YouTube video, if there's anything that needs to be added to this session, you can do it right through here. And then we also have the option to show what session features will be shown if our user is looking at this in the web view. So I am going to click on a couple of these to show you what it looks like. So I've chosen a few of them and I'm going to go ahead and save this. So you will see here my morning discussion, which I have just created. If I click into this, you will see everything that I have linked. So I have linked a speaker. So I have Steve Sanders here as our speaker. I have linked some questions and I have linked the survey as well. So those are all sitting there in my discussion that I have created. One of the things to also show you on the agenda points is how they look in web view. So one thing to note is that we need to publish the app as a web URL before we can look at it in our desktop view. You'll see if I click into my reception screen here, I get this error message if I have not published it as a web URL. So go in here to publish as a web URL and make sure we've published and created the URL. So if I go back now into preview mode and I go to my events list and click into Fliplet Seminar, you'll see I am taken to this nice reception screen. So this is going to be the web view of this. Users will only see this if they're accessing the app through the web URL. And again, just to circle back to our agenda point, when you click into this, you will see these options on the side here. So that is what I had selected a couple steps ago where I was wanting to show what's on now: materials, polls, questions, and discussions. So those are where those two things link to each other in our agenda session. Again, if I go back into the mobile size, you'll see I get this nice error message there that is just showing you that it's not supported in this device size. Again, if someone's using a live version of the app, they'll never see this, but if you're in Studio, that is why you're getting that error message. So I am going to make sure I am navigating through my events list. I will go back here and I'm going to jump back into my event manager menu. So we have already set up our users, speakers, attendees. We've already added event information. We have populated the agenda with some information. We now just quickly are going to go over a couple other options in here. Here we will move down to manage materials. This is where you're going to be adding materials to your specific event, either the whole event or to a specific session. So you'll see ones we already have here pre-populated. If you want to add one, you will click on this plus button. We will fill out this information, a title, any linked URLs. Important part here, associated session. So if this is a material that is going to be going specifically to a session, if we click in here, you'll see we have a drop down of different sessions that we have populated from our agenda. So you'll want to go ahead and choose that session to link it to. If we select it as popular, that means it's going to show at the top of our list, and we can also categorize it so users can navigate through and find it. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. You will see here that we have it listed on our materials under presentation. And if we go to our user material page, you'll see it now here is listed under popular because we did select that. So that is how you would be managing materials from within your specific event. Coming down here now to manage exhibitors, this is how you would be managing any exhibitors that sit within your specific event. So if you have exhibitors, you will click into this, you will use this plus button, and you will add the exhibitor's information to it. We can link it to our floor plan if there is a specific booth that they are at. We also have the option to drop email addresses of the users into these, so attendees of the event can reach out to your exhibitors and schedule a meeting. So that is where you would be populating all of that information here. So quickly checking back in with our event workflow, we had left off at our assigning event manager stage, where our event manager has been assigned to the event. We then have logged into the event manager and populated information for the specific event. So we have added our different types of users, so our attendees, our speakers, our exhibitors, and we have populated the event with all its information, so agendas and sessions, specific event info, different materials, our poll questions, our surveys. So everything for our event is ready to go. If we jump back into the event manager menu, we'll see that these 5-6 top points here are ones we have already covered. So that's getting all of your content into your event. So this is really important and what we want to focus on for getting the event live and ready to go. We want to make sure that all this content is populated. As we move down our event manager menu, you'll see we have a couple more options here: managing our leaderboard, sending out communications, checking attendees in and out, and our feedback section, managing our feedback. So these are really things that you will want to be using once the event is actually live. Not something we need to really review for the event setup tutorial, but we definitely speak to all those points in our configuration video. So we have our event live, everything has run smoothly, and the event has finished. As an event manager, the last thing you have here is the option to close the event. So this will close the event so it's no longer accessible to any attendees, speakers, users, etc. It will be closed, but all the data will still be sitting in the data source, where an admin can go in and extract that data and download it for you. The last quick point we want to discuss is deleting any placeholder template content from the app as a whole once you're ready to launch it live with all of your new information that you have added to it. So all of our templates come with some sort of placeholder data just to kind of show you how it works and how the look and feel of it is, but we can easily remove all that content once you're ready to go live. So what we want to do is click into our admin menu. We want to click on our manage events. If we click into this, you'll see all the different events that we have currently live. As we discussed before, you do have the option to close the event. This is just going to remove the event from being live, but it's not going to delete all of the data out of it. You'll still be able, as an admin, to go in and download that data from the app, but you will no longer have access as an attendee to see it. So that's closing it, but what we want to do here is deleting it and getting rid of that data. So the way that we do that is we click into one of the events and we simply click on the delete button. It will give you a message here letting you know that the event will be deleted. Any associated content, including agenda, material, etc., will also be deleted. We press OK, and that is now gone from our app. So something to keep in mind: once your app is populated with your own content and your own events, you may want to delete things that pre-exist in the template, and that is how you do it. So that is how we set up our event template with a specific event. So we've gone through kind of the workflow and how admins and event managers work together. We have additional support material on our website and in our help center on this. We have a full configuration video from start to finish, lots of additional support material. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us and we will be happy to assist.